Sabah Chief Minister Hajiji tests positive for COVID-19. IGP ordered in-depth probe into money laundering case involving cops. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Updates at Noon. I'm Jessica Lee. The government has agreed to have the Education Ministry or MOE issued a school closure order if there are teachers or students tested positive for COVID-19 without having to wait for a risk assessment by the Health Ministry. The meeting also discussed on new COVID-19 cases in Selangor and the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur, with cases involving students in Sekolah Kebangsaan Bangsar. The meeting also gave special attention to the situation in Sabah, prompting the decision by MOE to close down all schools in the state. Apart from that, the capacity of the hospitals to treat COVID-19 patients in Sabah was also discussed, and the meeting agreed for the MOH to discuss with the Malaysian Armed Forces or ATM to seek assistance in terms of medical facilities that can be offered by the ATM Medical Corps. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also asked the Immigration Department to give priority to the management of illegal immigrants in Sabah, as the group was among the main contributors to the spread of the pandemic in the state. Meanwhile, in related development, Senior Minister for Education Dr. Razli Jidin, through his Facebook, confirmed that all schools in Sabah were to be closed until the 25th of October. Previously, the MOE only closed schools located in red zones. At the same time, students in boarding schools located in red zones are to remain at their respective dorms. MOE also confirmed the temporary closing of SK Precinct 8 1 in Putrajaya and SK Bangsar in Kuala Lumpur until the 16th of October. Closing of these schools involved 2,978 students as well as teachers and staff. Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Sri Hajiji Noor has tested positive for COVID-19 and is now undergoing treatment at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The Public Relations Secretary to the Chief Minister, Effendi Muhammad Suno, said Datuk Sri Hajiji, who had been under self-quarantine, had taken another COVID-19 test which returned positive. Now, in a statement last night, Effendi said the Chief Minister's health condition is good and stable, adding despite undergoing treatment, he is still carrying out his duties and responsibilities at the treatment centre via telephone calls and video conferencing. The state government is functioning as usual. Now, prior to this, Datuk Sri Hajiji was undergoing self-quarantine for 2 weeks from Thursday as a precautionary measure after being exposed to individuals who tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, Administrative Enforced Movement Control Order or EMCO will be implemented at several localities in Semporna and Kunak, Sabah from tomorrow to the 24th of October. The Senior Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the EMCO placed in Semporna and Kunak involved 35,643 residents.
Di Semporna terdapat 6 lokaliti, iaitu Kampung Bangau-Bangau dan kawasan sekitarnya, Kampung Panji, Kampung Air, Kampung Selamat, Kampung Simunul dan Kampung Pinggir Bakau. Manakala di Kunak melibatkan satu lokaliti, iaitu Kampung Pangkalan.
During the period, residents have to comply with stipulated standard operating procedures or SOPs, such as not being allowed to leave their houses while schools, mosques and places of worship are closed. He said the Health Ministry, MOH, would be conducting targeted screening on residents involved, while food supply distributed by the state government would be coordinated by the State Disaster Operation Control Centre. Meanwhile, PDRM, ATM, APM, RELA and the local authorities will patrol the entire affected areas to ensure compliance of the EMCO. The Rescue and Fire Department, JBPM, has sufficient manpower to conduct sanitation processes, including the Immigration Department, depots and prisons, following the rise of COVID-19 cases nationwide. Its Director General, Datuk Sri Muhammad Hamdan Wahid, said 4,000 JBPM personnel are ready to conduct sanitation operations, including in red zones. JBPM also works closely with related district health officers in case the fire brigade is needed for any operations. Other than personnel preparedness, JBPM also has adequate equipment and chemicals to perform sanitation and disinfection. He said this at a press conference in Putrajaya. During the event, President of the Congress of Unions of Employees in the Public and Civil Services, or QPEX, Adnan Mad, led the list of receivers of the JBPM Director General Medal. He was followed by 109 other individuals comprising officers and personnel of JBPM as well as civilians. The ceremony also saw 16 media practitioners, including 2 RTM staff, receiving the Cermelang Bomba Medal. Now, the third wave of the COVID-19 outbreak spreads easier due to its higher infectivity rate. Now, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said it is more challenging to manage as the new transmissions involving several clusters in Sabah and Kedah had been confirmed by the Institute for Medical Research, IMR, to have the D614G mutation. However, the Health DG said the new wave is more controlled because the transmissions are confined to within the prison area and isolated from the community.
Namun, ianya terkawal di dalam penjara dan ini kerana telah dijalankan PKPD secara pentadbiran bagi memastikan ianya tidak merebak ke komuniti. Jadi, keadaannya terkawal dan juga terasing daripada komuniti. Dan setakat ini kapasiti kita menggunakan hanya 51% daripada kapasiti yang sedia ada. Yang kedua, fasilitis kesihatan dan perubatan. Kali ini kita lebih bersedia dan mempunyai kapasiti.
The ministry is now capable of conducting over 41,000 tests a day compared to only 1,000 daily at the start of the outbreak. In terms of health and medical facilities, he said the ministry had added quarantine centres and COVID-19 low-risk treatment, besides adding beds in hospitals and intensive care units, complete with breathing aid and supply of medical equipment. MOH also has adequate supplies of personal protective equipment. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Badur has ordered an in-depth investigation into the case of illegal online gambling and money laundering syndicate that led to the arrest of several policemen, including senior officers. Now, Tan Sri Abdul Hamid said he had instructed the Director of the Integrity and Standard Compliance Department, the Criminal Investigation Department and the Commercial Crime Investigation Department to conduct an investigation and assist the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC. Apart from that, Abdul Hamid said the Criminal Investigation Department was also asked to assist the MACC in investigating the case. He said there were still many who were being investigated by the MACC and they needed space and time to continue the investigation into the case. So far, 17 police officers and personnel have been arrested in connection with the case. Now, in conjunction with World Post Day, Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah expressed his appreciation to all postal and courier services personnel nationwide for their hard work. He said workers in these service sectors have played a vital role during the implementation of the Movement Control Order, or MCO, earlier this year. In a statement, he explained that postal and courier service companies are essential in developing the e-commerce sector by helping small to medium enterprises, SMEs, that conduct businesses online. However, a paradigm shift is needed as the technological and lifestyle changes have brought new challenges to the postal and courier industry. Datuk Saifuddin said the falling amount of letters posted saw the work of postmen no longer carried out in the conventional manner. Therefore, industry players and other related agencies will hold a postal and courier services industry planning laboratory to chart the future direction of the industry. The event will be set up on the 12th of October and will be carried out for 2 weeks. Now, local banks are still open to help small and medium enterprises or SMEs still in need of financing repayment assistance post-moratorium. Now, this despite the moratorium having expired on the 30th of September. The Association of Banks in Malaysia, or ABM, has urged SMEs needing assistance to contact their banks to resolve this issue. This is to help the banks to channel appropriate help to entrepreneurs according to their needs. In another related development, Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM), the Credit Counselling and Debt Management Agency (AKPK), and banking institutions have increased efforts to raise awareness and encourage SMEs to come forward to apply for loan repayment assistance. 150 discussion and interaction sessions have been held, including 14 loan repayment assistance campaigns at various locations across the country. As of 25th of September, 35,000 SMEs have applied for loan repayment assistance and 99% of bank process applications have been approved. Coming up in sport, Djokovic to face Nadal in French Open final. And we kick off with local football. Kelantan booked places in the 2020 Malaysia Cup after scoring narrow wins in their Premier League matches last night. Now, earlier, champions Penang, Kuala Lumpur and newcomers Kuching FA had confirmed their slots in the prestigious tournament, which reserved teams like Terengganu FC 2, Johor Darul Takzim JDT 2 and Selangor 2 are not eligible to play in. Kelantan shocked JDT2 with a 1-0 victory at Stadium Tan Sri Hassan Yunus thanks to a solitary goal by Muhammad Daniel Ashraf Abdullah in the 28th minute, which moves them up to 5th place in the table with 15 points. The match was marred by a red card incident when the referee gave JDT2 player Muhammad Adib Zainuddin the marching orders for a foul on Felix Chidi Odili in the 31st minute. In other matches, UKMFC beat Perak 2 with score of 2-1 at Arena University Malaya, while Sarawak United shocked Negeri Sembilan 2-1 at Stadium Tuanku Abdul Rahman in Paroi. The match between Kuala Lumpur and Kuching FA, scheduled at the Kuala Lumpur Football Stadium in Cheras, has been postponed as Kuching FA players and officials are being quarantined from the 4th to the 18th of October. There was no relegation for the bottom two teams of Premier League this season after the Football Association of Malaysia decided to cancel the M3 League because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
hanya 2 orang saja dari satu rumah yang dibenarkan. Yang lain terpaksa tinggal terus berada di rumah masing-masing. Semua perniagaan bukan perkhidmatan perlu adalah ditutup, manakala restoran, kedai makan, kedai runcit dan kedai serbaguna dibenarkan beroperasi antara 6 hingga 6 petang.
And that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, Sabah CM Hajiji tests positive for COVID-19. Now tune in to News at 10 coming up at 10 p.m. on Saluran Berita RTM on My Freeviews channel 123. Now you can also stream the news by surfing RTM's My Click. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Jessica Lee. See you at 10 p.m.